I was jacking up the car and it buckled right there. What a fucking mess. So I was jacking it up by the radiator, and you can see how it jumped up. That's this frame, it bent right there. Oh, man, I don't know how I'm gonna fix that. But the hood popped up a little bit, so it can't be left like that. That's all that's holding is the radiator. Great. Alright, crisis slightly averted. That's gonna have to probably be replaced at some point. That was just caulked there. It still can hold quite a bit of weight because I picked up the whole front end of the tractor. So I'm not gonna worry too much about it. See if the hood goes back on and I just won't ever jack it up from there again. Okay, this is a 2001 spindle from an sn95, and it's on a Team Z K member. And look at that, it's lined up perfectly, and I don't see why it wouldn't pivot right, but we'll see when I set it down and go to start adjusting on it what it does when its weight's on the car. But right now it's perfectly straight, which means theoretically it should stay perfectly straight with the A-arm, the controller. What a nice surprise. I thought it would work, but this is good, especially since everything online said it wouldn't work. So now these can go from the race car to Bert, because Bert has the spindles on it that were on the race car, and it needs to be adjusted a little bit. I don't know if you can see that good. That's just a little bit, yeah, it's adjusted. That might help things a little bit going down the highway. One other thing to mention is that is a different size brake line than this one. So I'm gonna have to, I got that draining into that, but I'm gonna have to cut that and put a different end on it. And then this is good. I'm gonna start on the other side now. Something that I should look into later. This sway bar mounts directly to the frame here, which might be the same distance on a foxbody, but I'll have to measure it and see. But you know what? It looks like it might have some room to slide here back and forth an inch or so. So that's definitely worth looking into, for that matter. I wonder if there's one in the back that might work. Nope, not one in the back, but there's one in the front, and I think that I can put it on Bert. So that's good news. Lots of good news today. All right, that is how much an foxbody spindle weighs, with the rotor and the caliper and everything. And that's how much the sn95 weighs. So I'm saving a little weight for sure. Alright, I run into a big problem here. I'm going to need longer studs and some pretty hefty wheel spacers in order to use these wheels, because these calipers are rubbing by like a ½ an inch, and that really sucks. Can't really show you. Anyway, this sticks out way too far. Alright, I got both the spacers that I currently have, which I think are 3mm each, and then I put some washers from these lug nuts behind there, and that spins. That actually spins a lot better than any of the other spindles I've had on there. And it doesn't stick out very far, so I think it'll still be okay there as far as sticking out goes. But we'll see. I'm not gonna not use these because of it, so now I'm gonna get a measurement and find some spacers, and I want to get some really long bolts, studs, because I'm tired of kind of trying to push that's in there about to the first knuckle of my pinky. So I want to get some really long studs and put them in here, and so probably gonna go to the store and get some pads and some studs and try to find spacers. Alright, so I measured these, and it's about 3/8 of an inch thick. I'm just going to go with a 1/2 inch to give myself a little extra clearance. So I'll find a 1/2 inch spacer, one for each side, and go from there. Alright, I got these at O'Reilly's. They're, well, that's the part number for the 4.5 or 114.3 millimeter spacers. They're, what did it say it was? 5/16. And then I added this on there, and that's the brake pads rubbing, but it's clearing right here. That's where you gotta worry, I think, and that actually spins really good. So I'm eventually gonna get wheel studs, but this is that lug nut's that deep, and that's how much to hit the stud, so it's threaded in that much. That should be plenty of engagement, so I'm not going to get in a big hurry to get those bolts. That's what it looks like without the wheel on. So that's 5/16 and a 3 millimeter is what got those on there. And I'd like to have a 1/2 inch, but that one worked, so now I got to do the other side, and I got to bleed the brakes after that. Well, I made it to the gas station and then the car wash. This thing ain't had a bath in probably a year or so, and it didn't get hot or nothing, but it's not charging. It got down to 8 volts. The screen disappeared, and I had to do like 100 miles an hour there for the last leg of the trip just to get it home. So got to figure that out. Okay, so I figured this out. This green wire is the excite wire, and it's got a resistor in it. This yellow wire, I had it looped back to here, and instead I went ahead and put a Y here on this power wire that was feeding this 12 volt signal to the regulator, but I took it and put it on the other side of this resistor. And I think what the issue was that the alternator, the regulator, couldn't see the difference in voltage in anything because that yellow wire was right off the charge port. So I was like, well, I ain't seeing a difference, I ain't gonna charge. So I think all along the problem was that yellow wire, and I got that from a video or something. It was just bad advice. That yellow wire needed to go to a different source, basically clear across the car. So this red wire comes in and goes to a fuse box inside the car, and then this resistor is key because I don't have the light for the alternator light, and so those two to get 12 volts, and this black and white one just comes out of here and goes into this little port right here on the side, and now it's charging again, so that's good. So another thing that I changed based on advice from a buddy is I took this this is the alternator wire that charge wire that's on the back of the alternator. It comes back here. Underneath this tank there's a fusible link that's resettable, and I reset that because it was blown at some point in this process, and I put it straight to the battery. It was right here on the solenoid, which made it have to go through this switch, and it was attached to the wires that it says on this label here, 2 relay box. So it was powering a bunch of other stuff. See that, it says 2 relay box right there. That's where the alternator wire was, and it was going into the car there to feed a bunch of accessories, fans and whatnot. So it was getting a weaker signal or whatever, because a lot of the voltage was getting bled off before it even got back to the battery. So now I'm getting like 14.5 volts on my gauge, and that was part of it, but that didn't make it start to charge. That makes it charge better. Now it's going to charge a whole lot better. It's going to be directly to the battery, so it's going to charge really well. But what made it want to charge was up there.